The sun stretched golden arms across the sky, painting the world in soft hues of amber and rose, promising a perfect morning ahead. The gentle light danced across the rippling water, casting long shadows and illuminating the mist that hovered just above the river's surface. It was the kind of sunrise that made you pause, breathe deeply, and feel grateful simply to witness the start of a new day. The air was crisp and invigorating, carrying the subtle fragrance of wildflowers blooming along the riverbank and the earthy scent of damp soil. Each breath felt fresh and clean, as if the world had been washed overnight. The mist clung to the ground, wrapping the landscape in a gentle embrace, making everything feel new and untouched. The river flowed gently, its surface broken only by the occasional swirl around smooth stones. The water whispered secrets to the rocks, its quiet song blending with the soft rustle of leaves overhead. Every now and then, a fish would break the surface, sending ripples across the glassy water, adding to the sense of peaceful movement. Birds tuned up for the day, their melodies weaving through the trees and filling the air with song. Sparrows, robins, and finches called to one another, their voices rising above the gentle murmur of the river. It was a symphony of nature, a chorus that signaled the world was waking up. Dewdrops glittered on the grass like tiny jewels, catching the morning light and sparkling with every movement. The quiet was alive with the hum of insects, the soft buzz of bees visiting wildflowers, and the playful rustle of a squirrel darting through the undergrowth. Every detail seemed heightened, as if the world itself was celebrating the dawn. Mark, a man who cherished these peaceful starts, sat on his favorite log by the river's edge, a steaming cup of coffee warming his hands. He watched the world wake up around him, taking in the sights and sounds with a quiet smile. For Mark, these moments were more than a routine. They were a ritual, a way to connect with the world and himself before the day truly began. This riverbank was his sanctuary, a place to reset, away from the rush and noise of daily life. Here, surrounded by nature's beauty, he found clarity and calm. The gentle flow of the river, the songs of the birds, and the soft light filtering through the trees created a sense of peace that lingered long after he left. He believed that starting the day with nature was the best way to prepare for whatever came next. Each morning spent by the river gave him a sense of balance and perspective, reminding him of the simple joys that often go unnoticed. It was a time for reflection, gratitude, and setting intentions for the day ahead. On this particular morning, the river seemed to shimmer with a special kind of magic. Sunlight danced on the water's surface, creating patterns that shifted and changed with every passing moment. The air felt charged with possibility, as if something extraordinary was just around the corner. But even the most tranquil places can become the stage for the unexpected. The stillness of the morning held a quiet tension, a sense that the ordinary could give way to the extraordinary at any moment. The stage was set for a day Mark would never forget. As he gazed out over the river, he felt a growing anticipation, as if the world was holding its breath, waiting for something remarkable to unfold. Sometimes the simplest moments hold the greatest surprises. In the quiet beauty of a perfect morning by the river, Mark was about to discover just how true that could be. Mark wasn't alone. His loyal golden retriever Max was always by his side. Max's golden coat shone in the morning sun, but his true beauty was in his gentle, loving nature. He greeted Mark with boundless joy, no matter how long they'd been apart. Outdoors was Max's paradise, chasing butterflies, sniffing trails, and splashing in the river. Mark and Max shared a wordless bond. One look or nudge was all it took. Rescued from a shelter, Max repaid Mark's kindness with unwavering loyalty. Their morning ritual was simple. Mark with his coffee, Max resting his head on Mark's lap. On this morning, Max was especially alert, ears twitching, nose testing the air. He was more than a companion. He was a guardian of this peaceful place. Max was ready for whatever the day might bring, and today, that readiness would matter more than ever. Suddenly, the peace shattered, a frantic splash, then another. Mark looked up, concern etched on his face. Max snapped to attention, a low whine escaping him. In the river's strongest current, a tiny head bobbed desperately, a fawn fighting for its life. Its thin legs kicked helplessly, swept downstream by the powerful water. The fawn's bleating cry was pure terror. Mark's heart sank. He was too far, the current too strong. Helpless, he watched the little deer struggle. Max trembled, not with fear but with focused intensity. He locked onto the fawn, all playfulness gone. Max looked at Mark, then back at the deer, his whine urgent. It was as if he was asking for permission, or declaring he couldn't just stand by. Something had to be done. Max knew it, and he was ready to act. Before Mark could even process what was happening, Max was already in motion. The tension in the air was palpable, and for a split second, time seemed to stand still. Mark's heart pounded as he watched his loyal companion make a split-second decision that would change everything. With a sudden, explosive burst of energy, Max launched himself from the riverbank. His muscles tensed and released in perfect harmony, propelling him forward. He hit the water with a determined splash, sending ripples across the surface. There was no hesitation, only purpose. The river was cold, the current swift and unyielding, but none of that mattered to Max. He was driven by instinct and compassion, his focus unwavering. The chill of the water and the force of the current didn't faze him for a moment. Max was on a mission, and nothing would stop him. With powerful, steady strokes, Max cut through the water, his eyes locked on the small, struggling fawn ahead. Every movement was deliberate, every kick of his legs fueled by determination. He could see the fear and exhaustion in the fawn's eyes, and it only made him swim harder. As he drew closer, Max slowed his approach, circling carefully behind the frightened animal. He was careful not to startle the fawn further, moving with a gentle, almost protective grace. His instincts told him that trust was as important as strength in this moment. Max let out a soft, reassuring bark, his voice calm and steady. It was as if he was saying, "Don't be afraid, I'm here to help you." The gentle sound seemed to cut through the chaos of the rushing water, offering comfort to the terrified fawn. The fawn, exhausted and trembling, paused in the water. Its wide eyes watched Max approach, unsure but hopeful. For a brief moment, the world narrowed to just the two of them, rescuer and rescued, connected by a silent understanding. Gently, Max nudged the fawn with his head and body, guiding rather than grabbing. He was careful, using his nose and side to steer the little deer, showing patience and care with every movement. It was a delicate dance of trust and guidance. Positioning himself between the fawn and the strongest part of the current, Max became a living shield. He used his own body to block the force of the water, making it easier for the fawn to stay afloat and move forward. His protective instincts were on full display. Slowly but surely, Max began to push the little deer toward the safety of the shore. Every inch was a struggle, but he never lost focus. The bank seemed far away, but Max's determination never wavered. The journey was slow and exhausting. Max's muscles ached, and the current fought him every step of the way, but he pressed on. His spirit was unbreakable, his resolve absolute. He was driven by something deeper than instinct, a true sense of purpose. In that moment, Max was more than just a pet. He was a rescuer, a hero in fur, risking his own safety for another life. His actions spoke louder than words ever could. Courage in its purest and most selfless form was on display for all to see. Max's bravery was undeniable, his heart as big as the river he swam. No matter the odds, Max was determined to save that fawn. He would not give up, not now, not ever. This was his leap of faith, and he was going to see it through to the very end. On shore, Mark's heart pounded as he watched his dog become a hero. Fear and pride battled inside him. Max was brave, but the river was dangerous. Mark paced the bank, searching for a spot where he could help. He cleared a path, readying a landing zone for Max and the fawn. Every stroke Max took felt like a victory. Mark whispered encouragement, willing his friend to succeed. He was part of the rescue now, preparing to do his part. The fear remained, but pride overshadowed it. His best friend was risking everything for another life. Mark knew he had to be ready. The moment was tense, but hope was stronger than fear. Soon it would be his turn to help. The rescue was far from over. As Max guided the fawn closer, Mark waded into the chilly water. Max nudged the deer forward. Mark reached out, steady and calm. Together, they lifted the trembling fawn onto the grassy bank. Max shook off, then checked on the fawn, gentle and watchful. A hiker named Sarah arrived, offering a spare blanket. They wrapped the fawn, warming it as it shivered in shock. 3 strangers, man, dog, and hiker, united by compassion. Max, the hero, sat patiently, trusting the humans to finish what he'd started. It was a perfect moment of teamwork across species. No egos, just a shared mission to save a life. The rescue team had worked in perfect harmony. The fawn was safe, but still weak and in shock. Mark and Sarah sheltered it, keeping it warm and calm. Max watched over the fawn, a gentle guardian. Sarah called the local wildlife rescue center. Relief washed over them. Help was on the way. When the rescuers arrived, they praised Mark, Sarah, and especially Max. The fawn was suffering from hypothermia, but had a good chance of recovery. The rescuer handled the fawn with care, preparing to reunite it with its mother. There was hope, and a plan for the little life saved, all thanks to a dog's brave heart and a team's quick action. The fawn's journey to recovery had begun. As the rescuer placed the fawn in the carrier, a magical moment unfolded. The fawn lifted its head, locking eyes with Max. For a few seconds, animal and rescuer shared a silent connection. It was pure gratitude, no words needed. Max sat quietly, tail thumping, eyes gentle and understanding. The bond between them was unspoken but profound. Mark hugged Max, whispering, "You're the best boy." Max leaned in, tail wagging, job done. The riverbank was quiet again, but everything had changed. Mark saw his dog as more than a companion. He saw a hero. Max was just Max, a dog with a heart of gold who did something extraordinary. They walked home together, side by side, a hero and his proudest friend. Max's story didn't end at the riverbank. It spread far and wide, touching hearts in ways no one could have predicted. What began as a single moment of courage quickly grew into something much bigger, reaching people who had never even met Max. Sarah's photos of Max's heroic act made the news, capturing the attention of people everywhere. The images of Max bravely saving the fawn were shared across social media, in newspapers and on television, inspiring countless individuals to believe in the power of kindness. Max's rescue was a powerful reminder that goodness exists, even in the darkest of times. His gentle spirit and selfless actions became a beacon of hope, reminding us all that compassion can shine through, no matter how tough life gets. His courage and compassion created a ripple of hope that spread through the community. People who heard Max's story felt inspired to reach out and help others, whether it was a neighbor in need or an animal in distress. This wasn't just about a dog saving a deer. It was about empathy and connection. Max's actions reminded us that we are all connected, and that a single act of kindness can bridge the gap between different lives and species. Max saw a life in need and acted without hesitation, showing us all what true kindness looks like. He didn't stop to think about the risks. He simply followed his heart and did what was right. Thanks to Max's bravery, the fawn made a full recovery and was soon reunited with its mother. The sight of the little deer back with its family brought tears of joy to everyone who witnessed it, a testament to the impact of one selfless act. Max became a local celebrity, celebrated by neighbors and loved by children, but through it all, he remained the same sweet, humble dog. He didn't seek recognition, he just wanted to help. His story teaches us that anyone, no matter how small or ordinary they may seem, can make a difference. Max's actions inspired others to step up and show kindness in their own ways, creating a chain reaction of good deeds. All it takes is a brave heart and the will to help. Sometimes the smallest gestures can have the biggest impact, and courage can come from the most unexpected places. Let's all try to be a little more like Max, brave, kind, and willing to act when we see someone in need. By following his example, we can create our own ripples of hope and kindness in the world. One small act of kindness can change a life and start a ripple that spreads far beyond what we can see. When we choose to help, we inspire others to do the same, creating a wave of compassion that can transform entire communities. Sometimes heroes have 4 paws and a wagging tail, and sometimes their simple acts of love remind us all of the extraordinary power of kindness.